Alrighty guys, welcome back. We are here for week 2, our news episode, and we have a ton to talk about after that last week's game. And let's not waste any time, let's hop straight into the details of last week's game. So overall, before we get into the specifics of anybody's stats, we were able to defeat the Denver Broncos for our second straight win on the year, 24-10. And honestly, it was just incredible. As you guys are seeing right now, we had 157 yards on the ground. You can't ask for much better than that, especially when we're going to be relying on that run game very much this year, along with some just great, solid offense production. Honestly, not great in the passing game, but it's good enough. It was solid, and 415 yards overall. You can't really be mad at that. 2 for 2 on turnovers, so we still got to cut those down. But as long as we're staying even with our opposition, we should be good. We also had the 2 key 4th down conversions by our fullback, Andy Janovich. We might have to switch that up a little bit. We can't be relying on him too much, but it's nice to see that that's working. We also had our key 2-point conversion in the middle of that game. And yeah, it was a phenomenal game. And let's get on to the specifics about what each specific players were able to do today. In the past game, Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson. He was able to throw out on us for 209 yards with a 81.6 quarterback rating. But the big thing we were able to do, we were able to put pressure on him, force him to throw the ball out. He even took 1 sack on the day. He did get a long pass of 60 yards, but no touchdowns for him on the day. I will take that as a win any day. For Davis Mills, honestly, average, but we'll take it. It was a 187-yard day through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and he did take 2 sacks in the day. But honestly, I can't be mad at it, especially because we know we're probably looking for a replacement of him in the future. If he's able to just be average, stay even, that might be good enough for us this year. Rushing on the day, our man, Dameon Pierce, was able to get his first career rushing touchdown. He had 21 carries, 111 yards on this day with a solid 5.3 average on the day. That 1 touchdown. He did have a fumble early on in the day. We were trying to ride him a little too hard, didn't give him enough of a rest, but it was a great day for him. 9 broken tackles on the day, 47 yards after contact, a long run of 19, just a dominant day on the ground. And they didn't do too bad themselves on the ground, as they had Javonte Williams with 10 carries, 53 yards, the same 5.3 yards a carry for them, and a touchdown for him. So a solid day for him as well. But we finished it out with a solid day for Marlon Mack, 4 for 20, and he had a broken tackle as well. Andy Janovich, 3 for 18, incredible production from our fullback. We love to see that. We will take that every day. In the receiving game, I don't know how John Mechie continues to stand out. In their second straight game, he's able to pick up another touchdown with a solid 6 for 82 day and a touchdown. Honestly, in a long of 27 yards. Just an incredible day. And I think he's really benefiting from the fact that Brandin Cook is able to take so much pressure from their defensive backs, and he's able to find his way open against secondary coverage. Jerry Jeudy was 2 for 76, obviously had that third play of the game, huge bomb from Russell Wilson for 60-yard gain. That really inflated his stats for the day. He didn't do much after that big catch, but it was a solid catch for them when they needed it nonetheless. Their tight end, who I can't believe I probably pronounced that right once during the entire game, he had a solid day, 5 for 52, 10.4 catch. He also had Tim Patrick, he relied on a lot. And then Nico Collins, 2 for 44. Pharaoh Brown, who was filling in for the injured Kyle Rudolph on the day, had 2 for 23. Honestly, just a solid day. We weren't looking for much out of the passing game. I don't think we are for this entire year, really. But I think we did a solid job with what we were able to do. John Mechie continued to stand out. Brandin Cooks continues to take the pressure off. He did have 1 catch for 11 yards, but his main purpose in this offense right now is they know he's our one true weapon, really, if we can call it that. And they're really working towards trying to cover him well, and it's opening up John Mechie for better chances. And as we rely heavily on the run game, we just need one wide receiver that we can go after. Our blocking for the day, pretty solid. Kenyon Green let up 1 sack on the day, and honestly, if that's the only sack for the day, I can't really be mad at that. 1, it could be much worse. And especially for our rookie, he's going to be making mistakes, but if it's only 1, I'll live with it. On the defensive side of the ball, we made a huge investment in last week's news episode. We decided to sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson to a huge 7-year deal after already trading up some assets for him. We believe in him. We believe and see him as the future of this team, and he's paying off. He had 4 solo tackles, 9 assisted overall, 13 tackles on the day, and he was just all over the field for us. He may not have gotten that key interception, but he forced 2 fumbles on the day. That is huge impact by him. He may not be having an interception yet, but he is all over the field, and that floater kind of position we have him in, trying to move around everywhere we can, get him on the defense, just have him getting in there as many plays as possible, giving him as many opportunities to make plays like he did last week. The other defensive standout we have to talk about on their side of the ball, Patrick Surtain is obviously their number one defensive back on the team. And while he may not have had a great day in coverage, he did get beat a few times by John Mechie. But we won't talk about that. But what we will talk about is he had one incredible interception on the sideline, toe dragging, keeping his feet in balance, going up against Nico Collins. It was an incredible pick for them. Honestly, a key momentum swing for them, which made the game really in doubt for a while. But we were able to come back and we were able to make the interception essentially mean nothing. For kicking on the day, they were perfect from both sides every time they went out there. Our kicker, Mr. Fairburn, he went 3 for 3, 100%, but he had a long of 55 yards, and that was a key field goal at that point in the game. We were very happy that he was able to knock that one through. Brandin McManus on their side of the ball, he only had one attempt and was only for 23 yards, so he wasn't tested much as Fairburn was, but honestly, solid from both teams. And punting real quick, we'll go over it. Pretty solid day from both participants. Both of them got one inside the 20, and Cameron Johnson unfortunately had one go back for a touchback. We haven't seen many of them this year. He's been pretty well, and honestly, last week was no exception to that. So now that we've looked at our team, let's take a look around the league and see what's going on. So obviously, as we look around the league for more results, we're going to be focusing mostly on what's happening inside our own division. And we had a division clash this week between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Indianapolis responded huge to their loss against us in week 1 with getting a 38-14 win over the Jags. The Colts were able to produce nearly 400 yards on offense, which was on the back of 218 rushing yards, a huge bounce back return game from Jonathan Taylor, and the dominance doesn't end there. They just had a complete annihilation, no turnovers on the day, a 4th down conversion to top it off, and they dominated them in the game of possessions, so it was pretty solid for them. From the player stats perspective, honestly, a pretty average game from the quarterbacks, but we need to talk about the rushing game. Jonathan Taylor, obviously he missed week 1 with that injury, but he didn't take any time in week 2 to make his presence known. 130 yards on the day, 3 touchdowns, 5.9 a carry, dominance from last year's rushing leader, and that honestly was what led them to the win. And in the early Monday night game, the Tennessee Titans were able to pick up a win against the Bills, 17-14, and from the looks of it, it looks like it was a knockout, drag-out brawl. Pretty similar stats. A lot of rushing yards on the day. It seems like they really worked for this one. And honestly, it looks like it might have been a little bit of a messy game, but they got the job done nonetheless. No one really had stellar stats on the day except for Derrick Henry, who was able to produce 117 rushing yards, 1 touchdown on the day, and it was just enough to get his team the W on the day. And the next game we need to talk about, the team we're going up against this upcoming week, the Chicago Bears. They had Sunday Night Football action against their longtime rival, the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers were able to pick up a W, 28-20, and it looks like this was another key, huge division rivalry game, only a 1-score game, but let's take a look through it. From the looks of things, it looks like their passing yards were pretty similar, but the Packers dominated them in the rushing game, getting nearly 100 more yards on the ground than they did. And it looks like from that point, that was really the big deciding factor. The Packers did have 1 turnover, but it was pretty much solid after that. The Bears were able to pick up 2 4th down conversions on the day, and then pretty similar time of possession. So let's see if the player stats tell the real story here. A solid day from Aaron Rodgers. He may not have gotten a ton of passing yards on the day, but 233, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, compared to Justin Fields, 240 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no picks. So pretty back and forth there. Can't complain about that one. Rushing yards, this is where they got him. Aaron Jones went off for 138 yards, 9.2 a carry. That's insane. And a touchdown to top it off. Justin Fields was trying to do his best for his team, putting the team on his back. 11 carries for 48 yards, 4.4 a carry, but it was simply not enough today. Now, before we get into figuring out what's going to be happening with our next game, we have some administrative stuff to get to. So the first mock draft for this year has come out, and I think we should just take a little bit of time. We probably are not going to look at a ton of picks, obviously, but we'll take a quick look and see what they're looking like here. So it looks like at the number 1 overall pick, they're looking at left tackle Sidney Wolford to go to the Dolphins with the number 1 pick. Number 2 pick, a wide receiver by the name of Randy Kerr. Obviously, we still don't know a lot about these players just yet. Left tackle Jalen Jett. Deshaun Allen, pretty solid. The first QB off the board seems to be going at number 7 as Jason St. Louis to the Packers. What about Aaron Rodgers? But interesting. Let's see what they have us looking at. They have us taking a right tackle, Jerry O'Donnell, with the 14th overall pick. That's interesting. I'm definitely looking for more of a quarterback, but we'll see how that all develops. Let's see. I don't think there's anything else we really need to look at right now. Oh, with our second pick, they have us taking another right tackle by the name of Roger Shields. Interesting. Probably not what's going to happen, but very interesting to see. And we also have some more negotiations or renegotiations to bring up for this team. So our number one priority that's coming up, Andy Janovich, our fullback, is ready to talk, and he's been so solid for us. He might be a key part of the team for the future. So let's see if we can get a deal worked out right now. So for a fullback, age of 29, we're going to try and go for more of a team-friendly deal. So we're going to go with the team-friendly deal was looking like a 1-year deal. Let's go for a 2-year deal, $2 million salary and 1.4 signing bonus. Let's see if he takes this. The length is about the only good thing going for this whole situation. Understood. We did try to lowball him, but we have the entire season to go, so we're not worried about that too much. Marlon Mack. I've taken a lot of thought about this. 26 years of age. He's a solid backup. He's nothing spectacular, but he's a solid option. So let's take our deal and let's see what we can work with it. So all we did was bring the signing bonus down just a little bit to a $1 million signing bonus, $2 million a year for 3 years. I think that's a solid deal for a backup running back. Let's see what he thinks of this. The bonus offer has me questioning whether you really want me back or not. Okay, that's fair. So no new deals were done this week, but we made some progress with the ones we do have. It looks like we also have some new trade offers on the books for Brandin Cooks. Let's take a look and see if anything is enticing. So we do have a lot of offers on the table. Let's take a look around, see if anything is really worth our time. So I've done a lot of thinking, analyzing with a lot of these offers, and the more I think about it, I do think it's key that we unload Brandin Cooks. He's already 29. He's probably not going to be helping us for the long term with this team. And yes, we started out great, but we don't know how great we're actually going to be this year. And we know one of the key things is going to be getting a quarterback. And if we stay solid like we are, we're going to need a lot of draft capital to make sure we can move up to get that quarterback. And also with the offers we have, there's a great opportunity on the table. So the best deal I think we have right here is the Miami Dolphins, who have offered us Jerome Baker with a 2nd-round pick and a 6th-round pick. And let me tell you why this makes sense. So obviously, I think we all understand we're taking a downgrade as a player, but Jerome Baker is only 25. He has 3 years left on his deal, just like Brandin Cooks has 3 years on his deal. They are both around the same cap number this year, right around $10 million, but Jerome Baker's is lower. And after this year, Brandin Cook's contract kicks into like 20-some million next year. So we're saving money, we're getting younger, and our linebacker position needs some help. There's just not a ton of talent at that position right now. This also gives us a 2nd-round pick, which could be huge for moving up, and a 6th-round pick, which we could use for better trying to steal some talent late in the draft. So honestly, I'm pretty sure this is what we're going to go with. Let me just make sure I have the right one selected. There we go. The Miami Dolphins, we have made the trade. And Jerome Baker is now a member of this squad. So let's take a look and let's see him decked out in his new uniform as a Houston Texan. Jerome Baker is not going to be wearing number 13. Give me one sec. There we go with a normal number, but Jerome Baker, number 50 for our team this year. And he looks like he's going to fit right in at home. He's going to walk in, be an automatic starter for our team. And wow, that is a huge deal to get us started on only our second week of the regular season. That is huge. So now is the time of the week where we can start looking forward to this upcoming game and see what we're going to have to deal with. First off, we're going to take a look at injuries. Obviously, on our end, we are so lucky to still have no injuries on the team going into the 2nd week of the season, onto the 3rd week, of the new season. For the Chicago Bears, they have a really important injury in their starting running back, David Montgomery. He's out with broken ribs for 3 weeks, so he's definitely going to be missing our game. They also have a left guard by the name of Dozier, who is out with a fractured kneecap. But now it's time to see who we will be dealing with as we are heading into Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. And that starts off with the 2nd-year quarterback who did not play his first year. He sat behind the vet. It's time for him to take the reins. Justin Fields, who honestly has a lot of potential for this league. He just hasn't had a lot of time to prove it just yet. With a lot of running ability, He's a dual threat for them. We're going to have to watch out for that. Maybe keep a few spies on him throughout the game. At the running back position, Khalil Herbert's going to be filling in at the starting running back position, backed up by Tristan Ebner. At the fullback position, Kari Blasingame. I don't know if I pronounced that right. At the wide receiver position, they have Darnell Mooney, Emmanuel Sanders, and Byron Pringle. At tight end, they got Cole Kmet, backed up by James O'Shaughnessy. At the left tackle position, Tevin Jenkins. Left guard, Cody Whitehair. Center, Lucas Patrick. Right guard, Laurent Duvernay. And then at right tackle, Larry Borum. At the left end, Travis Gibson. At the right end, Robert Quinn, the longtime vet Chicago Bear. At the defensive tackle position, they have Justin Jones, backed up by Mario Edwards and Kyrus Tonga. At the left outside linebacker position, Kyler Fackrell, who is definitely not the star they used to have there at that position. At the middle linebacker, they have Alexander Johnson and Nicholas Moreau. At the right outside linebacker position, they have Roquan Smith. At the corner position, they have Jalen Johnson, Xavier Rhodes, Kyler Gordon. At the free safety position, they have Eddie Jackson. In the strong safety position, they have Jaquan Brisker. Kicker, obviously, they have Cairo Santos. And at punter, they have Bradley Pinion. So after looking through the team, honestly, not a lot of big things to worry about. Like I said, on offense, we're going to have to watch out for the dual threat ability of Justin Fields. But besides that, not a lot of real threats for this team. And it shows with the predictions, all the analysts have given us our overall rankings for the year. And it looks as though the Texans and the Bears are ranked pretty similarly. So now it's time to figure out our weekly game plans going into this game. I think for our defensive game plan, we're going to focus on containing the QB scramble like we talked about. If we can contain Justin Fields, keep him inside the pocket, it'll help us out tremendously and take that weapon away from them and work with what they have, which is not a lot, to be honest. And I think on offense, we're going to go with what we've been using this entire season. We're going to keep our focus as running the ball inside. I know they have some good linebackers, but I'd rather not test them in the passing game with Davis Mills. We're going to keep it on the ground, work through Dameon Pierce, who's turned into our workhorse for us, and we'll go with that. So our coaches have submitted our goals for the week, and our Lovie Smith has decided he just wants to win the turnover battle, which I think is a solid goal, especially going up against a rookie quarterback like we are today. Our offensive coordinator said 300 plus offensive yards. Obviously, they have some old vets, they have a lot of skill, but besides that, they don't really have much going on. 300 plus offensive yards is a very solid goal for us. And our defensive coordinator has decided to allow 24 points or less. That's a pretty solid goal. We've been pretty good with keeping the score low, and that's not a bad goal to shoot for. And I have decided I want to see us get one interception this week. We've added a new linebacker to the team. Our defensive backs have played pretty well up to this point, and facing a young QB like we are today, we need to force something out. We have to win the turnover battle, and that starts with getting an interception. So with all that, it is time for us to get straight into our weekly training, and we're going to go over what we saw in training, see if there's anything super special that we have to talk about. I'm very happy to announce there were no injuries, but I do want to talk about, on a positive note, we saw some huge improvement from our rookie safety, Jalen Petre. He has been incredible so far in everything we've asked him to do, and I think the best thing for him is we're gonna what we saw from Jalen Petre on the day was we saw a lot of improvement in his acceleration and his overall awareness, which can only help him at this point in his career. So with all of that, I think we are finally set, ready to go. I am so excited. After starting the season 2-0, we are heading into Chicago. So with all of that, I think we are finally
Sunday,
set,
1 o'clock,
ready
we
to
are
go.
marching in
so
to take on the
excited
0-2
after starting
Chicago
the season
Bears.
2-0.
Hopefully keep
We're
both
heading
of these
into
streaks
Chicago
going on both
at
sides
Soldier
for us.
Field.
Sunday,
But
1 o'clock,
honestly,
we are
if you were to
marching
ask
in
me
to take on the 0-2
if I
Chicago
thought we were
Bears.
going to be leading our
Hopefully keep
division
both
going
of
into
these
week
streaks
3,
going
going
on
into
both
a
sides
very
for us.
winnable game,
But
making
honestly,
a massive
if you were to
Brandin
ask
trade.
me, I would have never told you I
we were
thought
going
that
to be
was
leading our
possible,
division
but
going into
honestly,
week 3,
I hope
going
you guys
into
enjoy
a very
it.
winnable
And
game.
if you did, remember to
and
like,
making
comment,
a
subscribe,
massive
turn on those
Brandin
notifications
trade.
down below. And
I would have never told you I
next
thought that was
time
possible.
for
But
our week
honestly,
3
I hope
game
you guys
against the
enjoyed.
Chicago Bears.
And if you did, remember
See
to
you
like,
guys then.
comment,